What was your "that's not what I expected" story? I thought I was buying a $500 used gaming PC from a college kid on Facebook Marketplace. Instead, I discovered I'd accidentally purchased evidence of a multi-million-dollar embezzlement scheme that destroyed 3 families and sent my neighbor to federal prison. Last month, I was desperately searching for an affordable gaming computer for my son's birthday. Found a listing for a high-end setup at an unbelievable price. The seller, Tyler, said he was a broke engineering student who needed rent money fast. We met at a Starbucks parking lot at 7 p.m. Tyler looked nervous, kept checking his phone, hands shaking as he loaded the computer into my trunk. "Just promise me you'll wipe the hard drive completely before using it," he said 3 times. I figured he forgot to delete his browser history or something embarrassing. Got home, booted it up to check the specs before wiping it clean. The desktop was empty, except for one folder labeled Insurance. My curiosity got the better of me. Inside were hundreds of Excel files with names like Diverted Funds Q3 and Ghost Employee Payroll. Each spreadsheet showed money being moved from Crawford Industries, our town's biggest employer, into offshore accounts. We're talking $50,000 here, $75,000 there, sometimes $200,000 in a single transfer. The dates went back 3 years. The amounts totaled over $4.2 million. But here's where my blood ran cold. Every transaction was approved by Margaret Crawford, the company CFO, my next-door neighbor, the woman who babysat my kids. Her digital signature was on every fraudulent transfer, every fake invoice, every ghost employee contract. I kept digging deeper into the files. Found emails between Margaret and 2 other executives planning exactly how to blame everything on Tyler if they got caught. "Kid's too naive to realize what he's processing," one email read. "Perfect fall guy. Young, needs money, no connections." They'd hired him as an intern specifically to frame him. Set him up with login credentials that made it look like he was stealing. Even created fake gambling debts in his name. My hands were trembling as I opened the last folder. Security footage from the office showing Margaret herself making the transfers, while Tyler was clearly visible in a different room. Timestamps proved he couldn't have done what they were planning to accuse him of. She'd been systematically destroying this kid's future to cover her own crimes. I called Tyler immediately. He answered on the first ring, crying. "Did you look at the files? Please tell me you looked." He explained how he'd discovered the scheme 2 weeks ago when Margaret asked him to fix some accounting errors. When he'd questioned the suspicious transactions, she threatened to have him arrested for theft. He'd copied everything onto that computer as insurance, but didn't know who to trust. That night, I drove to the FBI field office with the entire computer. Turns out they'd been investigating Crawford Industries for months but couldn't find solid evidence. The files on Tyler's computer were the smoking gun they needed. Margaret had been funding her gambling addiction, her husband's failed business ventures, and their daughter's Ivy League education with stolen money, while laying the groundwork to destroy a 20-year-old kid's life. They arrested Margaret at 6 a.m. the next morning. I watched through my window as FBI agents led her out in handcuffs, while her husband stood in the driveway in his boxers, screaming about lawyers. She saw me watching and just shook her head like I was the one who'd betrayed her. Tyler testified for 3 days straight, showed every email, every forged document, every piece of evidence they'd planted to frame him. Margaret got 15 years in federal prison. Her 2 accomplices got 10 years each. Crawford Industries went bankrupt. 400 people lost their jobs. Tyler got a $500,000 whistleblower settlement and transferred to MIT with a full scholarship from an anonymous donor who'd heard his story. Margaret's daughter had to drop out of Yale when the tuition money was seized. Her husband's construction company collapsed without the embezzled funds propping it up. They lost their house, their cars, everything purchased with stolen money. The last I heard, he was living in his brother's basement, still insisting his wife was innocent. Tyler sent me $5,000 last month with a note for accidentally buying the computer that saved my life. I donated it to a scholarship fund for engineering students. Sometimes I still think about how different things would have been if I just wiped that hard drive like Tyler asked. He'd be in prison right now while Margaret lived in the house next door, planning her next victim.